Well, we're on our way into the Zambezi National Park. We've come in a route that takes us down into the valley here, as you can see. We're heading to see our friends John and John Laing at Zambezi Sands. And here's the beautiful bush of Zimbabwe at this time of year, because we've come through some cold weather. It really is getting seriously dry. It's just started to warm up over the last few days, but I think we're still can expect a little bit of cold. Looking straight across the river to Zambia on the other side, and we're in the Sansimba Rapids area. It's about 30 k's upstream from Victoria Falls.
So here the river it's called medium phylum. That's how we measure the border. So this is the middle of the river bed, is the boundary. So from we came here in 2014. That year, on this island, I pulled out over 2,000 snares, wire snares.
Really?
So you can imagine the buffalo come down through here. This water is very shallow. They come through the water, they go onto the other side, and then you got all this bank of snares on the back there, and it's just a danger zone waiting to happen. Last year was a bit of a bad year. We had just over 100 snares. The year before we had about 90. So last year it rose up again a tiny little margin, but certainly nothing like what it was in 2014. So this has been a kind of success story for us. We've always worried about losing these islands to poachers, and we've actually fought and we've won these islands back, which is really, really good news for us.
That's fantastic news. And John, most of that poaching, is that, who's laying these snares? Is it coming from Zambia, or?
So on this stretch here, this is all about the Zambians. On the other side, there's a couple of Zambian villages, and these are guys here that are hungry. They don't have jobs or employment, so therefore there's no money, there's no food on the table for the family. So they're looking longingly over at us, and they see these wonderful buffalo coming down, nice big fat buffalo, and so they come over and they lay their snares. It's not a commercial operation, it's a subsistence operation. They're looking for food, that's what they're doing. Of course, if there's 3 or 4 buffalo that are snared, or a hippo or something like that that's got surplus meat, they will take the surplus and they will sell it just to bring in a bit of funds. But what we really need to do is figure out jobs and employment. That's what's going to save our African wildlife. It's not going to be me stopping and pulling out snares. We have to find a way to generate revenue and jobs, and then that'll help stop it. I don't think it'll ever stop it completely, but something needs to be done to reduce it significantly, without the constant need of plowing in money, because that goes nowhere. This needs to be done with us thinking about people that we use as employees to help in what we're doing in safari operations. So we need to train the guys. They need to be bedroom hands and waiters and barmen and chefs and cooks and porters and all that kind of good stuff. Those are the guys we need to bring in, and we need to have them working and seeing the value to a job, not just taking wildlife and meat away.
There's a lot of parks in Zimbabwe, and the ones that are most well known, the Mana Pools, Wangi, Gonarejo, but Zambezi National Park's kind of been maybe a little bit overshadowed just because the Victoria Falls is so close. But you've been working in this park for so many years. Tell us why you think this park is just so special.
I guess the best part about this park for me is it's home. It's been home for over 6 years, and I've worked it. I know it intimately. I've walked it, and for me, it's got a lot of exciting things that we look over all too often. So, for example, in this park, I've identified 154 different species of trees. I don't know that there's any other park that can boast that exact number. Maybe there are some parks in Southern Africa that can, but in Zimbabwe I think that that's a very cool figure to have. According to the Roberts Bird List, Zambezi National Park, our largest national park, has got 421, I think the official count is different bird species in that park. But here we've got 447. And that is an amazing stat. It's good. So this is an amazing place. It's a very, very cool place. It's not the same that you would get in the Chobe. The Chobe is big, vast, open floodplains, and you get a lot of wealth of animals coming down to the floodplain eating all the wonderful grass there. Here, our banks are a lot more steep, and we don't have the same volume of animals. But certainly we've got all of the species that Chobe would have and more, different. So that's a wonderful place to come and visit. There's a lot of cool things here. I mean, the river systems here, every corner has got something brand new to offer. It's an amazing park. And if you do travel in the Gonorrhoea, there's mile upon mile upon mile of very similar terrain. Of course it is different, and to the trained eye it's different, but to the untrained eye it looks very, very similar. Here it's vastly different. Every single corner has got something different to offer. You come out of Vic Falls itself, it's kind of barren, low level Mapani scrubland, a lot of rock, very poor soils. You come up to the western section here and it's just huge, lush, big trees, amazing islands like we've got in front of us here. And the wealth of flora and fauna both here is just exceptional. It's an incredible park, and I would suggest that it is possibly Zimbabwe's gem.
You guys have got some exciting plans afoot. Are you able to tell us anything about what's to come? Or
I'm not sure.
Off the record.
Well, we do have some exciting news. The exciting news is that Zambezi Sands and Gorges have been sold off from Imvelo. So Imvelo is now Nahimba, Bamani, Camelthorne and Joseph Benini, and Gorges and Zambezi Sands are their own separate entity. We fall underneath the Batoka Lodges group. But one thing's for sure is Imvelo has created a wonderful circuit, and we're going to be working with Imvelo and continuing with that circuit and making sure that the Zimbabwean component to what was Imvelo remains constant. And the only difference really is that we're going to give our lodges a different brand, a different name badge, but we're still the same people, we're still the same guides with the same passion, and we will complement Imvelo as much as Imvelo complements us.
No, and we're just so excited that you guys are going to be staying in the area and really pushing hard. And so coming back to the conservation side, what's the best way to move forward and make sure that you continue to be looking after this wildlife in the way that you have been, but to make even more of an impact?
Well, I think the simple answer to that complex question is a cooperative approach. At the moment we've got 6 camps that operate, or 6 independent operators that operate within the Zambezi National Park, and soon to be 7 and then possibly 8 or even 9. It needs to be a cooperative approach. All too often what happens is you get individuals who try and do things out of the goodness of what they're trying to achieve, but individually I don't believe that it's enough. I think things have to be done cooperatively. So the things that are cooperative in the park is first and foremost is we've got to protect the flora and the fauna. We've got to make sure that by us being here, it doesn't destroy the essence of why we are here in the first place. We've got to make sure that we save that. So we've got to have a good parks management plan. We've got to have good access in and out of the park. Our roads are literally our veins or our lifelines. We've got to have those. So we've got to ensure that roadworks are collectively done. Roadworks in themselves are very, very expensive. So collectively we can do it and we can make it. Anti-poaching is a big thing, and individually we're never going to win. Collectively we possibly can, and through employment and things like that, it's going to be vital if we are going to go forward and make a dent in all this. Employment is vital. So there's a lot of things that cooperatively we can do. We have to come together. We're all here for a common interest, a common passion, and that's wildlife. And our guests from all over the world, they come here not because of me or because of all the guides or the managers in these various places. It's because of the wildlife, and we respect that, we know that. So we've got to protect the wildlife first and foremost. But there's no ways that we're going to protect all of that without our communities. And communities are vitally important.
Yeah.
Here around the Victoria Falls area, we've got a very big community. The Chidobi ward, which is part of the Wangi Rural District Council, has about 9,500 people there. And they're on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to pay and even education. And we need to change that around. We need to fix that. On the other side, on the Zambian side, we've got communities there that also fall into that same bracket. That many of them don't have jobs. We need to fix that. We need to fix these problems. Otherwise, our problems are not going to go away. So collectively, we've got power, but individually, we're not going to have as much. So the long and the short of your question is, collectively, we're going to have to figure out a way to work together for the common good. And instead of being a little bit secretive about what we do and how we do it, we need to get out there. We need to have friends in the business, and we need to be able to call on one another and explain our problems and resolve those problems together. That's the only way we're going to win. So it's an important part. It's collective, and a collective approach is going to be the only way to save what we've got here today.
Yeah, well, there we go. Just some incredible words of wisdom there from John, and you know what it's about. I mean, we've got the kids here, and that's the next generation. Unless we do these things, they're not going to be able to enjoy just being out in nature. It's wide open spaces, listening to the bush. I mean, there's not even any sign of any human being around here. I mean, obviously there's poaching threats and things like that, but this is what it's about. So on the banks of the Zambezi. Cheers.